Hi, Gregory Klump here, Chief Economist with the Canadian Real Estate Association with CREA's revised forecast for home sales and average price for 2011 and 2012. After each quarter, CREA revises its forecast to take into account new housing market data and changes in the outlook for interest rates and the macroeconomy. Before getting into the revised forecast, let me just stress that the national forecast should not be interpreted as being for any particular local market, but rather for the overall picture on a national level. With that important proviso out of the way, let's dive into CREA's newly revised national housing market forecast. Activity was broadly in line with expectations across much of the country in the third quarter of 2011, with the exception of Ontario, where sales remained stronger than expected in a number of regions over the summer. However, as the third quarter ended, the strength in Ontario sales became less widespread, with Toronto providing most of the boost. With sales in Ontario having remained stronger than anticipated in the third quarter, CREA has revised its national sales forecast for 2011 from 0.9% to a revised 1.4%. While interest rates are now expected to stay low and friendly to the housing sector over most of 2012, activity will likely be held in check by tightened mortgage regulations, high household debt levels, together with slower but positive economic and job growth. CREA forecasts national sales activity will ease by 0.5% in 2012, and that's a small upward revision to our previous 2012 forecast decline of 0.7%. Accordingly, forecast sales for 2011 and 2012 remain roughly on par with annual average activity over the past 10 years. As for national average price, it evolved right in line with what CREA expected in its previous forecast, with average home prices in Vancouver moderating compared to levels seen in the first half of the year. That's because, as expected, multi-million-dollar home sales in Vancouver have returned to more normal levels after they shattered monthly records this spring. CREA's national average home price forecast for 2011 is little changed at $362,700, which represents an annual increase of 7%. In 2012, the national average price is forecast to remain stable. Sales activities remain strong in the face of ongoing financial market volatility, and that speaks volumes to the confidence that Canadians have in our housing market. The onslaught of daily headline news about economic uncertainty has put only minor dents in consumer confidence. How confidence evolves over the rest of the year and in 2012 depends largely on how global economic and financial market turmoil plays out over the coming months. Should global headwinds weigh in more heavily than expected on Canadian economic prospects, the federal government and the Bank of Canada have made it clear they stand ready to take flexible and measured responses as appropriate. Certainly that's encouraging news from the standpoint of the Canadian economy and housing market prospects, since their coordinated policy actions in early 2009 helped the Canadian economy and housing markets rebound smartly. I'll be back to report on sales activity over Canadian MLS systems in October 2011, so stay tuned.